and welcome back to Living My Fest Life, a podcast about festivals, fairs, events, and experiences, everything from the nationally known to the local and obscure. And this week, I'm talking to Lauren Uchalik about the Motor City Comedy Festival. This is my first phone call, so I apologize if the sound is a little crazy. Tried to make it work as best as I can, but Lauren is a super fascinating person. And she's really like a champion for comedy, putting on this festival with some other people. And basically, you can come as a performer and you can, have a great time networking with other comedians and learning a little bit more. Or you can come as a guest and just enjoy some great comedy. So I'll tell you a little bit more about the festival lineup in the wrap up, but please enjoy my conversation with Lauren. I'm living my best life. So you're a dog lover and you're a Harry Potter lover. Tell me a little bit more about you.
I've been doing comedy off and on for 10 years. I started doing roller derby in the middle there, so I was taking less time doing stand-up.
Can I interject?
Yes.
That's fucking awesome.
Yes.
What is your roller derby name?
My roller derby name is Hamtramck, because there's a city in Detroit called Hamtramck that I'm originally from, so... Yeah, I was with the Detroit Roller Derby League, and I was actually their marketing head for like 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
You were like, I'm going to go do this. Are you a jammer?
Yeah. I did everything. I was walking more toward the end, because jamming has gotten to be super intense. Like, Detroit's travel team actually has a former Olympic speed skater on it.
Oh.
So, like, that's the level that people are...
That's not fair.
...bumping up to.
I thought we were all grassroots starting out in our roller skates that we've had since we were in 8th grade. I didn't know that, injured professional athletes can just pick this up as a hobby.
Yeah, nope, that's what's happening now. Like, there are more and more, professional level speed skaters. Like, they started out being speed skaters, and, our league coach for a while was the speed skating coach of a bunch of these girls, including this girl who had been at the Olympics. And he was, he got, some of his former speed skaters who he, taught his children to be part of the league. So that sort of helped grow that skill set.
Okay, so very competitive league that you're in. Okay, what else are you into?
Amusement parks.
Hell yeah.
So I've got a really solid, well-rounded life. I used to have a platinum pass to Cedar Point, even though I've lived in Michigan my whole life. And this year, my boyfriend and I got Universal Studios passes because we've gone 4 times in the past year.
Wow.
I love theme parks. I think it's so cool. I think I should have gone into theme park design. I don't know if you've ever gone to the Harry Potter world.
I actually went to the one in London where they actually filmed the locations.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was really tight. As a Harry Potter lover.
Yeah, Universal Orlando, the Harry Potter areas are, it changed the game in theme parks because nothing was that immersive, because J.K. Rowling was like, listen, bitches, you're taking my babies, you're making it real. I need to approve every single detail of this land. So, they don't even sell pop in the Harry Potter areas because no one's drinking Coke in Harry Potter. You can only buy, wizard drinks.
Yeah, I got a butterbeer. It was not as good as I thought it was going to be, but I still...
I've heard the ones in England are not as good as the ones in Florida.
Yeah, I'm
they
sure.
Use a different recipe.
Yeah.
But in a Florida park, you can get, butterbeer soft serve, butterbeer ice cream, butterbeer... there's, 6 different kinds of shit you can get. There's, a frozen one that's, a slushy of butterbeer. That's my favorite. But it's still, way too sweet for me to drink a whole cup. I'm I drink some and then I, hand it off to my boyfriend. I'm like, here, you can have the rest.
Yeah,
I'm done with this now.
I had no gauge on what to compare it to. I'm like, well, I don't drink this in my regular life, so I guess this is just what it tastes like. And not a fan, but I had to do it because when
of course.
Around. Okay, so theme parks, comedy, roller derby. You're very, very well-rounded here. You're doing all the cool stuff. And now you decided... I'm going to put on a comedy festival.
Yes.
So when did you decide this?
We first were talking about it in the end of 2016. I've been talking about it, sort of offhandedly for years, but it's really hard to find comedians who have the skill set for the business aspect of things.
Right. Yeah, there's really good performers.
To the festival, but there's a lot of people who are performers but they don't understand how to make it into a business. Where, like, you can run an excellent show, weekly, monthly, whatever, but there are a lot more pieces to putting something together as a festival. And we actually, before even our first festival ran, we were able to get nonprofit status, so we're a 501c3 too. And we did that. We wanted to get together enough people that had the skills to be able to make this a real business. So we got 501c3 status as a nonprofit.
How hard was that?
For our first festival. It's a lot of paperwork. Luckily for me, my boss at the time was an attorney. I was a personal assistant as a day job to an attorney. And she was willing to, like, look over all of our paperwork and make sure that everything was sort of where it needed to be. But now I sort of have that. I'm able to help other people who are trying to set up nonprofits for similar programs, because it is really helpful. And a lot of people are trying to do in comedy would be eligible to be a nonprofit, because whether you're not if you're just putting on shows, but if you're trying to do workshops, if you're trying to do things to sort of further the comedy community and further careers, to me that feels like that's in the same vein. So that was something that was super important to me, because I really have been wanting to do these educational courses, because especially when you start out in comedy, there's no, like, rule book. No list of, like, this is the shit you need to do.
But everybody has opinions, too.
Everybody has opinions, too. But then there's, like, a professional way to do stuff. So, like, for example, this year we have education courses, and we've got, like, a CPA coming to talk about, like, when you get 1099, what are you supposed to do? Like, how to do your taxes and not get completely screwed.
You're an angel.
Yeah. Well,
this is stuff no one tells you about the business. Yeah.
Right. And then we also have one of the other comics on our board is a lawyer, and so is her wife. And her wife actually used to be a contract attorney, and then she said fuck that and became a firefighter. But she's also a contract attorney, so she's going to run a workshop on, like, how to read a contract and how to, like, look out for your best interests. When you're, like, signing off to do something, you're not going to end up somehow paying them money if you have a sort of act of God or whatever. Like, there's a lot of stuff that people don't think about until it directly affects them, and then they have to learn about it the hard way. So we're trying to, like, give people the tools to not get into that situation.
And I think every comic probably has, like, a horror story from, like, a contract gone wrong or some kind of gig that really screwed them. Yeah.
For sure. So we've got that. We've got, we have a comedian named Melanie Vesey, who is from LA, and she actually has a company called Promotional Rescue, where she does marketing and branding and PR for comedians, for artists. She actually did a bunch of stuff for Maria Bamford.
My favorite.
And kind of revamp all of her marketing. Yeah, I love her, and I thought it was so cool. And so, because her stuff is so specialized to our industry, she's coming back into town. She's going to do some of these workshops on how to market and brand yourself. It's not just about, like, having a really cool Instagram, and it's not just about being somebody who's emulating what you think a famous comedian is supposed to do. Like, there's a way to, like, refine your voice and to find your audience.
That is so helpful. Like, I am so I don't know anything about how to market myself. I feel vain when I do it. I don't want to make a fan page. I don't know how to send things out. And some people are so good at it, and like, that's, like, you're like, how do you have the time to dedicate to this and these creative ideas, and other people, like,
exactly.
So.
And that's one of the things that actually Melanie says in her description she gave me of her workshop. She said, you know, I'm going to talk about how to market yourself without feeling gross about it.
Yeah.
Because that is such a big part of it, because we're like, God, especially as women, like, we're told, like, don't try too hard, don't, like, ask for the compliments.
Be humble.
Like, but be humble. You have to be so humble, but you also are trying to further your career by getting people to come to the shows. So how do you toe that line without looking like you're the most desperate for attention?
Right. It's like, I don't want to bug anybody. You can like my page, like, just, but, like, on your own. Like, I don't want to ask for it.
Like, I hope you can figure out that I'm having the show without me saying anything.
Oh my gosh, this is so true. Okay, so not only is it a comedy festival where fans can come enjoy comedians, it's a comedy festival where comedians can come and learn about the business of comedy.
Yes. And this year we actually also have Mark Ridley from Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle, which is like the premier comedy club in Michigan, coming and doing a talk about booking and his time booking in the comedy industry and sort of how he thinks the industry has changed over the years, which I'm so excited about. Like, he's the man. He's had his comedy club for over 40 years now. It's where so many huge comedians got their start. Like, I feel spoiled having been from Michigan. I grew up in the Royal Oak area. And I remember in college I was reading Bob Saget's book, and he said, I can count the number of comedy clubs in the U.S. that care about comedians on my dick, and that one is Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle. And then he went into like 2 pages about how amazing Mark is, and I was like, wow, I don't think people realize what a resource we have here.
I know, it's right there on Bob Saget's dick. Like, why haven't we been checking it?
Like, why hasn't anybody else looked at Bob Saget's dick lately?
Yeah, that's awesome, because I have no idea what goes through bookers' heads when I email them. I'm like, are you even looking at this? How many times? Like, so this is so shameless, but I don't even email bookers anymore because I'm just like, oh, they'll reach out to me if they want me, which is the worst way to be a comedian. So this is all very helpful.
It's really tough. And Mark is so invested in the industry. It's unbelievable. Like, he has an open mic every week, and he doesn't live in Royal Oak anymore. He lives on the west side of Michigan.
Wow.
But he watches every open mic.
What a nice guy.
Like, he has closed circuit or tapes or whatever. But one time I had a really good set, and I was working with him for some other comedy-related, like, booking thing. And he was like, hey, I saw your set last night. You're really improving on these jokes. And I was like, oh my God, like,
I love it. It's like comedy dad.
Turnaround.
Yeah.
So invested. His son is actually doing a talk as well because his son is a writer for Rick and Morty and Community.
Okay.
So his son has had a really cool career writing for comedy. And so he's going to talk about how to write and still have your voice, but write in different comedy styles. So he's writing on all these shows, but he still has a very distinct voice that you can see when you start to watch his episodes. And being able to sort of work with different styles and groups of writers in that way, and sort of break into it. So I'm pumped. I think that we've got a really cool lineup of different talks. Oh, we have one about podcasting. We have a Detroit local comedian who actually gets paid to do talks on podcasting and like promoting podcasts. So he's coming and doing a talk as well. So we've got
we all have a podcast now.
Yeah, we all have podcasts now, but there's a way to market them that's a little different than the way that we'd be marketing other stuff. And there are some proven methods. I mean, it's not a science, but there are ways to sort of maintain that viewership and to maintain a lot of the integrity and the structure of a podcast that have worked really well for a lot of different comedians and for a lot of different artists who have these podcasts out there and carving into those niches. So I think this year we've got such a good lineup of education as well as these comedians we wanted to bring to town because we wanted it to be more than just performances.
First of all, that's amazing that you're collaborating with the two. And so for those who are thinking that are not comedians who would attend Motor City Comedy Festival, you have Chris Gethard coming.
Yes.
Can you tell them? I mean, I will help you tell them, but in your words, headliner Chris Gethard, like, tell me about him and why they should come to this show.
Chris Gethard is so funny and so honest. He has such a great personal take on topics that a lot of people find hard to talk about.
He's doing a live podcast of his podcast called Beautiful Anonymous, which is one of my favorites. He takes real phone calls from anonymous people. They're not allowed to say their name, and he has to talk to them for an hour, and just whatever comes up, comes up.
Yeah. And so we're really excited that he's doing both of those. I think on both shows we're about half sold, so I'm so excited to see more people coming in. I mean, we're still about a month out, and we're having people just get really excited about it. I mean,
I'm excited about it. Oh my gosh.
The day we put the tickets on sale, people were all over it because people really respond to somebody who's willing to put themselves out there and who's willing to talk about whatever people want to talk about. I think that both his podcast and the way his personality comes through in his stand-up are amazing.
I mean, career suicide was incredible. The vulnerability, it came to talk about that and going to therapy. Yeah. Have you read his book, Losing Well?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, there isn't a thing that he's done that, I mean, I was really, really excited to bring him this year because I think that he is such a great person, and that the way that he expresses his comedy and the way that he doesn't just make it, I mean, Beautiful Anonymous brings in another person, and so it's not just about sort of the self-promotion that would be in a lot of podcasts that turn into, like, celebrities talking to celebrities and how cool is that. Mm-hmm. It's about real people, and it's about really talking through things with a real person who wants to talk about them.
And he has no idea what they're going to call in and say. So, like, like you said, like, it's just 100% authentic and genuine what's happening right in front of your eyes. Losing Well was one of my favorite books that I read in the last couple years, just because, first of all, his vulnerability, and he's very funny, but also, like, he's a mildly successful person. He's not necessarily a household name to everybody, but he just talks about all the hustle that he's put through his career, all the ups and downs. And I took a couple passages from his book and I read it to a bunch of the comics that were about to compete in our local contest about, like, how it's really not important whether you win or lose.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so he's great. What other headliners are you excited to bring into Motor City Comedy Festival?
This year we also have Sabrina Jalise, who is hysterical. She just had her 15-minute Netflix special. She's been writing on a bunch of stuff. She has a CBS show coming out, I think, later this year. She's super funny. She has such a distinct voice, and I'm so excited to bring her. I saw an article like last week that I shared on the Motor City Comedy Festival page where they called her the lesbian Ray Romano. Funniest analysis of her because she's super funny, but it is all about her home life, and it's about sort of the quirkiness of like her family life now that she has a wife, and she's Middle Eastern as well, so there's the whole aspect of her culture and moving away from family as a result of her sexuality. And we also have comedian CP, or Chris Powell, who is a Detroit native. He was on the show Detroiters. He's done a lot of really cool stuff while he's been in LA. We also had Eric Griffin from Workaholic.
Nice.
And Eric Griffin has done all kinds of great comedy specials on Showtime. And then Cisa Sound, who is a former MTV VJ and has been touring with Dave Chappelle and Michael Che. And he started doing stand-up with Dave Chappelle, and he was traveling with Michael Che, and he's super funny. And he actually reached out to us and said, hey, I really want to come into town for this. So he's doing a DJ set as well as a stand-up show.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
So it's crazy. It's super cool. Then we have a couple of Detroit comics who are coming back into town for it. One's Ron Taylor. He just moved out to LA a couple years ago, but he's already a paid regular at the Comedy Store. And he has been going around with Blake Griffin for these roast battles that Blake Griffin does. Where they go up on stage and they roast NBA players. It's wild.
Oh.
And Nicole Shriver, who is hysterical. She's, I think she's a paid regular at the Comedy Store now too. And she's going to be back in town headlining some showcases. So
wow, you have a killer lineup.
I am so excited. Like, every person on there, I'm just super happy to see come. I mean, I've never not felt that way, but this year, I mean, I feel like it's so well-rounded. It's excellent. I mean, last year we had Tony Hinchcliffe come and do a live Kill Tony, and he had this rapper, Danny Brown, come on stage for Kill Tony. It was wild. It was a crazy show. One of the Detroit Pistons came for the show, and then it got too wild. They left. I mean,
Kill Tony, if the audience doesn't know what Kill Tony is is also a comedy show / podcast that they do live, where they do a lottery. They pick random comedians out of a hat, and they can come out and do their best, 3 minutes?
I think it's 3 minutes.
Yeah, and then they're judged by a panel of comedians.
A lot of it was really fun, and I mean, Tony was great. His whole team was great. They all came out and had so much fun. And last year we also had Ms. Pat come, and we had Mike Kaplan. I mean, it was super fun last year too.
How many years have you done it, Lauren?
This is the third one this year.
You have all these amazing acts, and it's only your third year? Wow. So you must have hit the ground running like 100% full throttle.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we were so excited just from the beginning to do this as best we could and to make it as collaborative as possible, because it's not just a show where we're only booking Detroit comics. We want Detroit comics to be part of it, but we also want to showcase the people who want to come to Detroit, because comedy festivals are not just about coming and performing. There's a lot of networking. There's a lot of kind of touristy cool shit that you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've got people, I mean, this year we have a comic who's from Germany, and she's super funny, and we are so excited that we have people from all over the place that want to come and they want to perform in Detroit. And we, as a nonprofit, we try to make everything as fair as possible, so all of our submission comics are judged by a panel of 5 experienced headlining comics. They all get 5 scores. The top average scores get in. We don't want there to be a bunch of playing favorites. We don't want this to become just like a friendship contest.
Right. Which
there is so much to it. Like, comedy is so big, so much bigger than that, you know?
Okay, so if you're not a comic and you're an audience member, like, what do you think is the best kind of way to tell them about how would you describe the festival from an audience standpoint? Like, what do they get out of it besides amazing comedy shows?
They get to experience some of the coolest parts of Detroit. For audience members, we have a little really fun list of places to visit that are some of our favorite places as the producers. And then we also have our festival's main venue is Planet Ant Theater, which is an improv theater that was started by a group of amazing improvisers, including Keegan-Michael Key and J.D. Moyer, who are both fantastic actors in L.A. And
is Keegan from Detroit?
Yes, he actually went to the same high school I went to, but like 17 years earlier.
Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with him. He's the best.
He is. And then the guys from the show Detroiters, Tim Robinson, whose show on Netflix is one of the funniest things I've seen in recent memory. I love it. I don't know if you've watched I Think You Should Leave, but it's phenomenal.
I have not seen it.
And it is so funny. It's this weird fucking sketch show. Amazing. It's fantastic. And so he and the Detroiters crew, that was actually filmed, so that was filmed at Planet Ant as well. So this improv theater has this great history of fostering this really amazing talent and being super supportive, and we are so excited that they have been really supportive through our festival.
Okay, so it's
been fantastic.
You got comedy shows, you got cool venues, people can buy passes. How?
Go to motorcitycomedyfest.com/purchase passes, and they're also available on Eventbrite.
And this is in September, correct?
Yes, September 19th to the 22nd. So its single shows range between $5 for our showcases, and then headliner shows are between $20 and $25 per show, or you could get a weekend pass for $100, which is an amazing
Wow,
deal.
That's a good deal.
Comedy.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. It seems like you've put a lot of work in. How has this been rewarding for you?
I love trying to bring comedians together, and I've been wanting to start a nonprofit for a while. And actually, throughout the year, I have stand-up classes for high school kids at Planet Ant, where I let kids just sort of get on stage and write down stuff. They talk about it on stage. We talk about joke structure. They get to try to be funny, and it's a really cool way to work on public speaking that doesn't feel like school. And I've always wanted to have a nonprofit that really focused on the educational aspect, because I went to the University of Michigan for theater, and there were so many cool theater careers, and there were people that were able to go in as freshmen knowing they wanted to major in that stuff, and I was like, I didn't even think about that as a career, like doing lighting design or sound design for theater or directing.
It's not really like something that's even pushed upon either, because it's like, oh, that's not a legitimate career, like you'll never make money doing that, but it's like, yeah, you could make a lot, actually.
You could, because there aren't a ton of people going into it.
Yeah.
So I really find it rewarding to do just educational things. Like, I love performing, but during the festival, I honestly take myself out of it because there's too much other stuff going on. I didn't create a festival just so I would have stage time, because I feel like that's a little vain and narcissistic, and like it's not about that for me. It's about creating this environment and bringing in these people from out of state to Detroit for this comedy show, and bringing Detroit comics up and showing how Detroit comedy is super funny, and we have these supportive rooms, and hopefully these people will come back and they'll perform again because they had such a great experience here.
It's all about networking and having fun and meeting people and having good shows. Like, you bring a good audience out and they appreciate the comics, and then the comics appreciate the audiences. So it sounds like you're cultivating like such a phenomenon here. This is awesome.
I mean, we're trying to. We want people to get everything they can out of this. So, like, we want the local comedians to take advantage of these workshops. We want them to want to be on the festival, and even though it's a curated submission base, like, we want them to see it as an opportunity to, like, if they don't get in, to maybe it's something that they would want to work on. Like, the comedians that we have judging it are people who I would undoubtedly put at a headliner level, who travel, who are amazing, they're so super funny, want it to be the best festival it can be. And I mean, it's hard. It's so hard to do that part of it as a comedian. It's not a personal thing, and I mean, I'm not even watching the clips. I'm not on that part of the organization. We have a group of volunteers that, bless their souls, agree to watch like 300 to 400 clips of comedians.
Probably hear some of the same jokes over and over again too. So
yeah,
I mean, get that 5 minutes. Yep. It sounds like you just don't want people to feel like they're just another name on a list that paid $25 to submit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we try to do so much for comedians that come into town. I mean, we have local comedians that open up their homes. So, like, if people don't want to have to spend money on staying in a hotel, we have comedians who offer their couches for couch surfing. I usually have like 3 or 4 people come to my house.
Yeah, that's so great.
We have lunch and dinner provided both Saturday and Sunday, and dinner on Friday by different sponsors where we are able to get food. So comedians aren't having to come out of pocket for a bunch of food. Everybody gets a t-shirt. We have like these little swag bags with stuff that's donated by sponsors. Like this year, I know we got some Faygo because of the Detroit tradition of Faygo.
Oh my God.
We've got some other snacks, and we've got like t-shirts. We've got all kinds of really cool stuff because we want to give comedians a good experience. Because I know I've gone to some festivals where it's like you are coming out of pocket so much money.
Yeah.
To have to go travel and
perform for free. Jinx.
And then you maybe get like some good connects with people. I mean, a worst case scenario, it's like a war story that you share with someone else who was on this shitty festival.
Right.
The best case scenario, I mean, you have some really good shows and you have fun, but it still ends up being a lot of money for something that is really hard to justify to your parents. Like, when I told my parents I'm going to go somewhere for a festival, they're like, why? What are you getting? I'm like, hopefully somebody will book me someday. And it's like, that is useless.
Hey, but like, I run a show here, and, some of the people I've booked are people that I've met at festivals who are swinging by town. And I said, you know what? Just being able to like network and be like, I can vouch for this person, or I've seen this person, or wow, this person's going to be huge. Like, collaboration and camaraderie. I mean, that's a huge part of, what is underground about comedy, which a lot of people.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and what we're trying to make it like the best experience for comedians, and that's why we're trying to have our group of people that are watching these clips to get the best of what these clips have to show. And someone's really funny and they have a bad clip and it sucks, and
That's me.
hard because you can be super funny, and sometimes it's just really hard when there's a camera on you.
Tapes are hard.
Like, and it makes it tougher because there's so many funny people out there, and we try to make it as level a playing field as possible because we don't want people who are applying from LA to think, well, like, they don't let in any people other than their Detroit people, or you don't have a chance if you're from Detroit because they only want out-of-town people. We try to make it as even as possible to base it on merit instead of it being just like a friendship contest.
Yeah. Lauren, it sounds like you just put so much thought and consideration into this festival. Like, honestly, I'm so mad at myself that I didn't apply. You know what I mean? Like, so definitely
we'll be back next year.
You'll be back next year. I can't wait to see who you guys bring next year. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to say about Motor City Comedy Festival?
Just check out our website, motorcitycomedyfest.com, and you can see everything that's coming. We'll be opening up registration for our workshops soon, because those aren't just open to the festival comedians. They're open to local folks and folks who just want to come out and learn about these topics.
Really? You open it up to the public, too?
Yeah, we didn't want it to just be for festival comics, because having the festival here, we want local comedians to still be able to be part of it, because our goal is to have this be an educational resource. So we want to be able to have, like when Mark comes to talk, there's a Michigan comedian Facebook group, and when I posted some of the options we had for our festival workshops this year, wanting to see do a speaking engagement with Mark Ridley, got 60 people that wanted to see that just from this Michigan comedian group.
Wow.
I don't know that all of them will come on a Saturday afternoon, but knowing that there's that much interest, we don't want to take away these opportunities from Detroit comedians just because they either didn't apply, didn't get into the festival, whatever. We want this to be something for everybody who wants to be part of it. Like last year, we had way fewer workshops. We had a writing one, and then we had one about getting into voiceover, because that's something I've heard a lot of comedians say is a really good way to earn extra money, because it's something you can do from anywhere.
What if you're not a comedian? If you're just a person who, is planning on maybe coming to the festival, but is also like, hey, I do radio now, or maybe I can get into something. Can they come too?
Yeah, if they wanted to, if there were enough spots, they could totally come. Once it gets to that point, we are opening up our registration soon, I would say in the next week.
Wow.
A little more generally, but we're hoping that, people who want to come to these, if there is somebody who is a musician or someone who's an actor, and they see that we're doing a workshop on doing your taxes as 1099, I think it's better for everybody if they have the tools to do that, because we're all raising each other up, and we're all trying to kind of get to that same goal. We don't.
I love you so much. I don't even know how to tell you right now. It's just
someone knowing how to do their taxes doesn't do me any harm.
I know, but yeah, it's just such a your parents don't support a starving artist mentality. You got to go out there and learn it on your own. It's like most of us are just wandering the streets with our hands out, being like, "Is this right? Am I gonna get? Yeah. Is the IRS gonna come get me?"
And that's the thing. It's like no one knows that they've fucked up until they've fucked up so bad that it's a serious issue.
Yeah.
So that's why, like I said, I started doing comedy 10 years ago, and I haven't been hitting it as aggressively because I have been out there.
Because you've been hitting other people on the roller derby track.
Yeah,
I get it.
I've been doing some wild shit, but it's not about just being a comedian. There's so much more to it that I think people don't think about, and not everyone has a business background. Not everyone has a law background. So there's so many different parts of the festival that we want to make people better at being in the arts, because once you decide to be an artist, they're like, okay, even in a lot of theater degrees, it's like, here are your acting classes, here's your dialects class, now you speak with an Irish accent when the IRS comes to tell you how to pay taxes.
Oh, can I pay you in potatoes?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you have no idea.
Oh,
Gotcha.
no.
It's a wee mistake. Awesome.
So it can be, a lot of schools don't necessarily teach that, or people who don't go to school for those things are just like, I know I want to be an actor, I'm just going to pop into the industry, but they don't have like the tools to be able to manage the business end and people don't have people to hire for that until they hit a way higher level than most comedians are going to get to before they need this.
Thank you so much for talking to me. I know I told you it would be like 15 minutes, and it's been like 45, so...
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Listen, I know I can talk forever, so it's my own...
No, you're good.
I'm my own nemesis.
Listen, we had our dogs in the way. I really appreciate you.
No problem. Thank you. I'm always excited to talk about it with people who are willing to be supportive of it.
I'm living my best life.
The Motor City Comedy Festival will be held September 19th through the 22nd, 2009, featuring locations at Ant Hall, The Sanctuary, the Independent Comedy Club, and Detroit Shipping Company. Headliners include Chris Gethard, Eric Griffin, Chris C.P. Powell, Ron Taylor, Nicole Schreiber, among others. You know, you can go to Motor City Comedy Fest to learn more. Yeah, I just think this is a great event. If you live in the Detroit area or anywhere in Michigan, you will love these acts. Very, very funny folks. And yeah, get out there, enjoy it. Go fest yourself. If you have a festival idea, please send it to festlifepodcast@gmail.com. Special thanks to Phil from Me Compadre for doing the editing for the show. And get out there and see some festivals this year.
If you're broke,
Then save your money.
get a job
Don't get that coffee.
once a week. I'm living